I'm gonna showcase how I made layer 1 for the Poison Act 1. Sit tight, this one is gonna be extremely cool. I'm really hyped about talking about this. Here we are in the Cubase project. I disabled a few plugins and I'm gonna show you something that you don't hear on the original track. So this is layer 1. You don't hear this. What I did is I took this basically big orchestral track and I added a pumpy bass to it. I also added a drum loop to it. But that's still not what you recognize from the original track, because then it sounds like this. That's not what we recognize. I also put Shaper Box with a filter and a volume thingy on the piano. And then I put it on the entire strings bus. I put this volume kind of sound, like it's just basically a modulator and a filter modulator, which makes it sound so drastically different. That's insane, right? So originally I had the strings and I was playing around with the strings and I was doing this. I was putting Shaper Box on the entire thing. And then so basically I have this full track, this full orchestral track, and then it's turned into mangled and turned into a beat, an EDM beat, by adding these drums, and it's so cool. So yeah, I'm gonna start at the beginning now. I wanted to start with that because I think it's just extremely well, it's, how do you say that? It's an experiment that went extremely well. From all the experiments that I did for the Poison, a lot of them didn't make the cut. This one definitely made the cut because it was just too cool. And I rendered it out and I put it in the intro as like a subtle reference, and then I added some soundscapes to it. So you can hear, this is the track. No. I made a patch from the entire drop again, so it's this sort of inception kind of happening. What's, I don't know how to explain that. And then we have this, some cool signature bands. So it's basically it's a track and a track and a track, and then we have the emotional piano strings part. I'll plate it in by hand. And also with the strings, they feel very expressive here. And they're playing what I have here, very similar, just the piano is different. But overall, it's very similar. The thing is, I originally had the drop that I showed in the beginning. I had that, the orchestral part, it just felt not human enough, like it missed expression, so then I played everything in by hand. I did a lot of tempo automation afterwards to kind of make it move at the pace and the tempo that I wanted it to move at. I did that all by ear. It was a very tedious process. Don't recommend. But I like how it turned out. Just an emotional track with some emotional sustains as well. I had these Pacific sustains. Well, not the LFO ones, but I changed them for these new ones by Jasper, which were pretty cool. I don't like how these are pretty heavy on the performance, but in this track there's not a lot of stuff going on, so it worked pretty well. I also don't think it really matters the type of sustains. It's just that it's nice to have a blend of these textural sustains, which are the whisper sustains, and the ensemble sustains, which are normal sustains. That's the only thing that matters here. And then we have this. So let's just play this one more time. So yeah, that's the drop. There's a little sound that swells into the drop, this reverse sound. This is another reverse thing that I did. It's super cool. Check this out. So what I did was I re-rendered the track at the beginning where I have this little nudge of the drop, this. And then I put it here. I processed it again by putting reverb on it, like even more. And then I reversed that, and I used that as a reverse sound for this, to have this. So it's inception, inception, inception. I really like the idea, and that's layer 1. I named it that way because it's more in the context of the album, where layer 1 is still kind of the beginning. We're digging deep inside the mind, and we're digging deep inside experimentation with the poison. And this track, layer 1 was the title that I had ready, and I wanted to give it to a track. And this track just made sense because this track, layer 1, is basically the orchestral track that is the original thing. This is going to be really hard for some of you to keep up with. Maybe I really hope I'm explaining it right. The original track without the shaper box doing the weird EDM stuff that's creating this cool EDM drop. That's layer 1, and then layer 2 is doing that, and then layer 3 is in the beginning turning that into this atmospheric pad, and then layer 4 is doing this with the whole reverse thing. Not sure if that makes sense. This is like where I'm balancing at the edge between insanity and hopefully genius, but it's more of a happy accident, really. It's just why you have to experiment with stuff and just be curious, and then cool stuff happens. You can see my excitement. Now, and then I felt like a DJ for creating cool stuff like that, and it was just, you learn these things as you go by just experimenting. That's a word that I use a lot in this album. And then to make it more interesting, I extended the part with this. And I have these. Oh, these might be fun to showcase. These are bam, big, well, not super big, but like medium-sized percussion from Damage, and with big EQs. So now they sound like small percussion, which is a really nice thing. And they're pretty close up, not super close, but a bit more close than original. Well, not a bit original, I mean like how they set it up in the library. Originally it's like this, and I turn it down like this. So yeah. And now there's this delay that keeps going on. Well, it's the reverb, and it's pretty cool. It's a really short track. Well, not extremely short, but quite short. And that's because it just didn't make sense to extend this too long, because the cool gimmick has already been given away. And yeah, ambient outro. This is just a, yeah, basically the intro at the outro. It's bad, and again this. Oh no, it's this. Oh, one other thing that I did to this is to process it, I did halftime on it, which is why I have to adjust the whole thing. You can hear how that sounds. It's pretty cool. It's transposed of 5 semitones, so it's like this. This is what you hear in the drop, without the drums and stuff. And then it's like this, which sounds a bit grainy. And then halftime, it sounds even more messed up. in a cool way. And then I filtered it to make it more low. And then I added a lot of reverb to it and some EQ to adjust. And I think it's a really cool way because you're... And the same as in the intro, I did a similar thing. Yeah, so you have that... You have this is the main part of the track, and I kind of give it away in the beginning. But the first time you listen to it, you don't notice that this is happening. And I hope that for some of you this is a surprise, because the premiere of the album has happened at the point I'm posting this video, which is still in my future me for now. But I hope that was a cool surprise. I'm really curious how it will be received. And then this is the emotional part. It was also really fun. As you can see, very human, very expressive, all played in by hands and just all the imperfections left in. With some more imperfections than altered by hands. Which is just this, and then this is a more sped up EDM version. This is so cool. I can't talk like a reasonable human being about this. I'm just too excited, and I'm really scared on how I can kind of find new heights with Poison Act 2. There's a few projects that I really love that are currently in the works, but I want to find more cool stuff like this, and it's just a matter of creating a lot of music for me, and every time I try something different and just lean into the curiosity. And here, just that really paid off. So yeah, that's layer 1. This is a pretty short breakdown. Nevertheless, I think it's a really cool concept, and I hope you enjoyed that. Actually, before I'm gonna say goodbye, this is a concept that I can probably take further. This is a concept that could be cool if you're a music producer or composer and you want to try this out. Make a track and do like some shaper stuff on it. So like you have this whole track and then you turn it into basically one sound, and then you add the bass and drums to it, and then you have a whole different track. I think it's so cool to the identity to kind of take this whole track and just squeeze it into one specific sound, and you get this really full and big sounding sound as a result, which I think is really cool. So if you want to take your takes on that or try out something similar, I would love to be pinged or whatever, or tagged. I'm curious. But I'm gonna do more stuff like this myself for sure, because it's super fun. But I also want to test out new stuff and discover new things. Anyways, that's it for this breakdown. I hope you have an awesome day, night, evening, day, or night, or any of those. Bye!